The biggest threat to your retirement probably isn't the stock market. It's not even inflation. And it's usually not a massive emergency expense. It's actually the recurring costs that quietly drain your wealth year after year. The expense that feels normal, but over 20 to 30 years of retirement can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, most people think retirement planning is all about how much you save and set aside, but that's just the starting point. It's also how you optimize those dollars to your advantage to make the same amount of money saved last longer. Now, when we look at optimizing the money saved and how that affects retirement, if you cut the wrong thing, you're going to create frustration. But if you cut the right things, you actually create freedom. I'm Mat Sorensen, attorney and CEO of Directed IRA. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the top 5 costs that you should focus on cutting in retirement. We're going to start with number 5 and work all the way down to the number 1. And the number 1 is one everyone must confront. And that one can quietly destroy retirement plans if you don't manage it correctly. Number 5 is pretty straightforward. You might have expected this one. Stop spending on things that don't actually provide value. This is one most people expect, but I want to frame it differently. I'm not talking about living with some scarcity mindset in retirement. I'm not saying don't travel or enjoy life or don't buy nice things, but I'm talking about spending intentionally. Too many people carry working year habits into retirement. They want to have expensive cars they don't need, brand name purchases just for status, subscriptions you forget but you're still paying for, stuff that really just creates clutter in your life, not actual happiness. Retirement should be about freedom, not financing a lifestyle you don't even enjoy. And I've seen many people with multi-million-dollar retirement accounts still leaking out money every month on things they don't even care about. Let me give you an example. Let's say it's $800 a month in unnecessary lifestyle spending. Well, that totals $9,600 a year, but over 20 years, that's nearly $200,000. That's not a small issue. The question should always be, does this purchase improve my life, or am I just used to making it? Think of purpose over clutter. And that mindset gets even more important as we move to number 4, because this next cost often comes from people we love the most. Number 4 is your financial support for other family members. Now, this one's emotional, and because of that, this one can get expensive fast. I'm talking about adult kids who never became financially independent, parents who need your ongoing support, the sibling you're bailing out every time, family members who treat you like their backup retirement plan. Helping family is good, but becoming everyone's financial plan is not. And I see retirees draining accounts because they've never created boundaries. They keep paying for other people's rent, car payments, credit card bailouts, emergency after emergency that somehow just keeps repeating. But here's the key. If you're reaching retirement with a set-aside amount of funds you need to support yourself, you're going to have to get used to saying no. Otherwise, you could be the one asking for help because you didn't preserve your own savings and retirement income for your future. For most of us, our retirement is going to depend on assets lasting us 25 years, and we cannot afford unlimited withdrawals for everyone else. And when it comes to finances, the best gift you could give your kids, even your adult kids, is teaching them some financial independence. And for our aging parents, proper planning is likely too late now. We can't teach them something new. They're likely already in retirement if you're looking forward to retirement. So creating proper boundaries and making sure you're taking care of yourself first and preserving what you need before bailing out your parents is where you need to feel comfortable. Because boundaries are a part of retirement planning, because a good plan is as much about what you do as it is about what you don't. And covering other people's costs, even family, even loved ones, is something most retirees can't bear. And the next cost here is one people assume they can't control, but you actually have more control than you think. Number 3, medical costs. Medical expenses are one of the biggest retirement fears, and for good reason. It's the number 2 largest expense in retirement. And it's even after you have government-provided Medicare. But the reality is that healthcare gets more expensive as we age. But most people only think about reacting to medical cost. Smart planning starts years earlier. First, use an HSA. If you're still working and eligible, under age 65, with a high deductible plan, your HSA is the best tool in the tax code. Why? Because an HSA gives you a tax deduction on the money going in, tax-free growth when you invest it, and tax-free withdrawals for any qualified medical expense. That is a triple tax advantage benefit, and there is no other account that works like that. Some accounts give you 2 tax benefits, like a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or 401k, but only the HSA gives you all 3 tax benefits. I want to run through an example here to illustrate this. Let's say you're age 55 and married. You can contribute $8,750 per year into an HSA, plus you get an extra $1,000 for anybody who is over 55. So let's say you and your spouse are both over age 55. That means you can put $10,750 into an HSA every year. And let's say you did that for the next 10 years up until you reach age 65. Let's say you're getting an 8% annual rate of return. You could have been getting that in the S&P 500 fund over the last 30 years. That's going to total $191,750 that's in an HSA waiting for you to use and draw on when you hit age 65. Now, this money will last you 23 years, and you could be taking $1,500 a month. That's $18,000 a year for your medical or health care, and you will be paying 0 tax on that money coming out. This becomes a serious tax-free medical reserve you're going to be using later on. Second, on the same point of the HSA, your health itself matters financially. Staying active, eating better, strength training, walking daily, these are not just health decisions, they're wealth decisions, because the cheapest medical bill is often the one you never have. Prevention matters. Your body is an asset. Treat it like one. But even if you manage healthcare costs well, there's another expense that can destroy retirement cash flow much faster, and that's your home. The number 2 cost you must cut in retirement is your housing expense. The ideal situation to be in is one where you're not paying anybody rent. If we can own our home and get rid of the principal and interest payment that's going to a bank, this is actually the largest burden in housing. And by the way, we still own the asset. The average home appreciates 4% a year in the United States. That appreciation over time, maybe the next 10 or 20 years when you're using that house, can come back to benefit you, and you can draw on that if you need it for long-term care or assisted living later on. Now, if we own our home with no debt, we can't get out of property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. You're still going to have some housing expenses. But if you still have a major mortgage payment on top of that, your required monthly income gets much higher. But I also want to take a step back here for many of you and think about the home that you have. This might have been the family home. It has a lot of equity in it, but maybe you still have a mortgage. Now you have some sentimental attachment to that home because it was the family home. Maybe you could downsize that home, use the equity in it, and actually buy a smaller home with no mortgage on it. Because if we can get rid of that mortgage payment, it frees up quite a bit of money. For example, $2,500 a month going to a mortgage payment of principal and interest, that's 30 grand a year, and over 10 years, that's over 300,000 of retirement cash flowing out to the bank for principal pay down and interest. And this one change could mean everything. It could mean taking retirement now instead of in 10 more years. It could mean a comfortable retirement instead of one where you worry about staying on budget each month and you end up being miserable. Now, I'm not saying everyone should rush off to pay down a low-interest mortgage, but retirement should include a serious plan and analysis for housing efficiency. Maybe that means paying down the mortgage, downsizing, even relocating to a lower-cost living area, and eliminating the unnecessary housing overhead in your budget. Bottom line here, your housing situation should support your retirement goals, not trap it or delay them. And now we get to number 1, the cost that's quietly taking more from retirees than almost anything else. Taxes, the one thing that is inevitable other than death. And this is the cost most people underestimate, because taxes in retirement can be optional if you plan correctly. Most people spend decades focusing only on saving money, but they never build a strategy of how they're going to take it out. And in retirement, you're not taxed based on how much you spend. You're taxed based on how much taxable income you show. And now that you're retired with different buckets of income and savings, you get to decide how to draw on that money. Is it coming from taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts, or tax-free accounts? Is this ordinary income or capital gain income? These are all very different things. And I can show you 2 retirees, both living off of the same $150,000 a year, but one pays almost nothing in taxes, like less than 5%, while the other is paying 20% or more. Same lifestyle, same income, completely different outcome. Here's where optimization matters. Number one, Roth accounts. Roth IRAs and traditional accounts that you convert to Roth create tax-free income later. This means you don't have to stress about paying the IRS or the state. You paid the tax once, it's already over, and the IRS doesn't get to tax that account ever again. Number two consideration here are senior deductions. Many retirees forget how powerful deductions are, especially when you're 65 or older. Now, we get the standard deduction that is $32,000 if you're married, but you also get additional age-based deductions on top of this. These are not things you have to itemize for. These are on top of standard deductions. That additional age-based deduction is $3,300 that you get additionally per year, again if you're married, plus an additional $12,000 right now as a result of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which totals $47,500 of income. Every American will get these, this is for a married couple, right out of the gate. Your first $47,500 of income that you take is taxed at zero. Now, I also want to note here that as you're pulling money from traditional IRAs or 401ks, that are otherwise taxable, you can pull from those funds once you're age 70 and a half and send those funds directly to a charity. So if you regularly support charitable causes, pull from those accounts, send them directly to a charity, and they do not go into your taxable income. The number three consideration here is how can I optimize capital gain income and pay a 0% rate? Many Americans have put money into a taxable brokerage account. Maybe it's at Robinhood or TD Ameritrade or Fidelity. You've been saving this account. Maybe you've got $400,000 you've put into this account and it's now worth $800,000 from the appreciation of those stocks over time. Well, if I want to start drawing on that taxable account, I'm going to have to sell the stock in there. When I sell the stock, any appreciation that it's gone up over time will be a capital gain to me. So for example, if I sell 100,000 of that stock and that was 50,000 that I put in, 50,000 of gain, I'm going to have a $50,000 taxable gain. The nice thing about capital gain planning is if you have less than $100,000 of taxable income, the capital gain rate is zero. Now, many retirees have the ability to optimize when they draw on traditional accounts, Roth accounts, HSA accounts. You don't have any other income coming in. Maybe you've got Medicare you're delaying. Maybe you've got some Medicare coming in. But if I can keep my income under $98,000, including the gain that I brought in from selling the stock, I will pay a 0% long-term capital gain rate. Now that is huge because I'm getting a 0% rate instead of sending 20% to the IRS and possibly to my state. And let's say you want to take more than 100 grand during the year. Well, you could draw on your HSA or your Roth that are not taxable accounts. Your taxable income is still 100,000 or less, and your capital gains rate still remains zero. And the cool part about this is if you want to live on more than 100,000 of income, you can still draw on your health savings account or your Roth account that are non-taxable accounts that do not go into your taxable income when you draw on it. So you actually have more than 100,000 you're living on, but from a tax standpoint, you have less than 100,000 of taxable income and your capital gains rate from your taxable brokerage account from selling stock remains at a zero rate. The number four consideration here when it comes to taxes is timing your withdrawals strategically. Pulling too much from a traditional IRA or 401k at the wrong time can increase your Medicare costs, trigger more Social Security taxation, and it can push you into a higher tax bracket. We're not going to get a 0% tax rate, but if you take less than $150K a year out of those, once we take the senior deduction and we apply your tax rate, the maximum tax you're going to pay is 12% in federal income tax. So we can still keep the vast majority of those funds if we're optimizing the amount we take each year and keep it below 150K. You go over 150K, it starts getting to 22% or greater in taxes. But the key point here is you have so much more control on tax planning in retirement because you decide what bucket of funds to take from and when. So now for you, taxes are not just an April problem, they're a retirement strategy and opportunity to keep more money for use in retirement while sending less to the IRS. And for many people, reducing taxes is the single best raise they'll ever give themselves. If you remember one thing from this video, remember this. Retirement success is not just about how much you save, It's about how much you keep. And people who win in retirement are not always the ones with the biggest accounts. They're the ones who control the biggest expenses. They reduce unnecessary spending. They set boundaries with family. They plan for healthcare. They eliminate housing stress. And most importantly, they stop overpaying in taxes. Because taxes are often the one cost you can actually control if you plan early enough. And at our law firm, KQS Lawyers, we've helped investors not just build wealth, but structure it in a way that's tax efficient, flexible, and aligned with how you actually want to live. If you want help analyzing your retirement strategy, reducing taxes, or building a smarter long-term plan, check out the link in the description below to book a call. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe please, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on tax strategy, retirement planning, and building long-term wealth. I'm Mat Sorensen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.